Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. All right, so we are back and ready to dive into another V75.
Yes.
This time it's Bergsåker, January 11th, 2025.
Exciting card this week.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be quite the day, and of course, winter racing.
Absolutely adds a whole nother dimension
Yeah.
to handicapping these races.
So we've been poring over the research, looking at the tips and the stats and everything we can get our hands on.
Yes, trying to find those angles.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Okay, so V75 won the silver division, 1,640 meters auto start, and there's one name that just jumps right out at you.
Yeah.
Decision maker.
Yeah, she's been very dominant in this class. She actually beat some very good male horses in the race before.
Yeah, and she's had some really impressive wins lately.
Yeah, and her trainer seems to think she's in top shape right now.
Yeah, seems like a lot of the experts are picking her as the favorite.
Yeah, you can understand why. I mean, and actually many think that the mares are a little bit better than the male horses at the moment, so.
Interesting.
So it might be an uneven playing field.
Okay, so decision maker sounds like she's the one to beat. But who are some of the challengers that you're seeing in this race?
Well, I mean, one of the most interesting ones, I think, is Parveni, driven by Matty Jews, who is the brother of Magnus E. Jews, who's driving Decision Maker.
Oh, wow. Sibling rivalry on the track. I love it.
Yeah, it's a little fun angle to that race. And Parveni has been very good. If he can get to the lead, he's very tough to beat. But Decision Maker got a new balancing setup.
Okay.
A couple of starts back, and she's looked fantastic after that, and they made her balancing lighter, and she really seems to fly after that. So I don't know if Parveni can keep up if Decision Maker is in top shape.
Okay, so we've got Parveni as a strong contender.
Yeah.
Anybody else that you're looking at?
Well, Lindy's Musclemania, he is a capable horse, but he drew a bad starting position, so he has to overcome that.
Right.
Run and Cola is a horse that's known to finish strong.
Okay.
So if they go a fast pace, he could be dangerous.
All right, so some interesting possibilities there, but it sounds like Decision Maker is really the one to beat in this race.
Yeah, I think so, unless something unforeseen happens.
Okay, great. So let's move on to V75-2, then the Kalblaz division, 2,140 meters, and this one is a Volt start.
Yes, and that's a whole different ballgame. Whole other
Strategic element.
strategic element, yeah.
Okay, very cool. So who are we looking at for V75-2 then?
Well, the probable leader in this race is a horse called Svarte Petter.
Okay.
He has a very impressive win rate if he gets to the lead.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets to the lead, he's usually very tough.
Okay, so Svarte Petter, the mystery horse, potentially.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so who are some of his challengers that we should be aware of?
Well, Frivolgorm, driven by Ulf Olsen, is a top horse, but he has to overcome the 40-meter handicap.
Right.
So he's starting 40 meters behind the leading horses.
Yeah, that's a big hurdle to overcome.
It is, yeah. And then we have a horse called Soulstorm,
Okay.
who can be really, really good on his best day, but he's a bit inconsistent. So he's a bit of a gamble, but if he's in top shape, he could be dangerous.
So Frivolgorm, we're looking at whether he can overcome that handicap.
Yeah.
And then Soulstorm, it's just kind of is he going to show up or not?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
got it.
Love it.
And then I think Soldhuizen's Drake, driven by Per Leonardson, is a good value bet.
Okay.
He's been very consistent at this level, and he gets good odds, so
Yeah.
so he could be a horse to consider.
So if you're looking for a value bet, Soldhuizen's Drake might be the one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Any sort of like dark horses in this race that we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, there's one horse I have to mention just for fun.
Okay.
His name is Lap Love.
All right.
He started 187 races.
Wow.
And never won.
Okay. That is commitment right there.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, the odds are astronomically against him, but
Hey, but you never know.
you never know. It's horse racing.
Anything can happen.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of it. All right. So we've got Svarte Petter for Volgorm, Soldhuizen's Drake, and just for fun, Lap Love in V75-2.
Okay, great. Let's move on then to V75-3, the Gold Division.
Yes, another 2,140-meter auto start.
What are we seeing in this race?
Well, one interesting thing is that a lot of the horses in this race didn't win a single race last year.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of horses who haven't been in the winner's circle for a while.
So a field of almost winners, you could say.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So it makes it a bit of a puzzle
Yeah, for sure.
to analyze this race.
Okay, so who is the favorite in this race?
Well, the favorite is a horse called High on Pepper.
Okay.
And he's a horse that's proven himself on winter tracks.
Okay.
He likes these kind of conditions. But in his last start, his trainer put the wrong shoes on him.
Oh, no.
And he didn't perform very well, so.
So bad shoe choice
Yeah.
can really throw things off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, in the winter, you really have to be careful with these things because it can change so much from one day to another.
Right.
If it's slippery or if it gets warmer and the snow melts and stuff like that. So
Yeah, these little details really make a difference.
they do, yeah. So High on Pepper is a bit of a question mark because of that, but he's obviously a good horse.
So we're looking at whether he can bounce back from that shoe issue.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the most dangerous challenger, I think, is Weekend Fun, driven by Ulf Olsen.
Okay.
He's a very strong horse, and if he gets to the lead,
Yeah.
he could be very tough to beat.
So he's a front runner, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then Dundee As is a horse that has won recently,
Okay.
but he needs to get to the lead to have a chance, I think.
All right. So it sounds like getting out in front is going to be pretty key in this race.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So High on Pepper Weekend, Fun Dundee as the ones that we're keeping an eye on for V75-3.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's move on then to V75-4, the 2140-meter auto start, the Stowe Division in. And the favorite here looks like Capucine d'Anvers, driven by Pearl Leonardson.
Yes, and she's a very interesting mare because she has so much potential,
Okay.
but she tends to make mistakes at the start.
Oh, okay. So she's a little bit unpredictable.
Yes, exactly. And that's a bit of a concern because in these kind of races, you can't really afford to make mistakes.
Right.
And Pearl Leonardson is a driver who's known for taking care of his horses.
Mm-hmm.
He's not always the most aggressive driver. He'd rather see his horses finish the race healthy than winning at all costs.
So a cautious driver with a potentially skittish horse.
Yes, that's one way to put it.
Sounds like we could be in for some excitement.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble with her because you never know what you're going to get.
All right, so who are some of her main challengers then in this race?
Well, Vesterbo Cookie is one that comes to mind.
Huh?
She raced really well last time out with a new bike setup.
Oh, interesting. So she might have found a new gear.
Yeah, we'll have to see if she can repeat it, but she looked very good.
Okay.
Mary Wad, driven by Mats E. Jews, is a very consistent mare. She can adapt to most scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
so she's always a threat.
Okay.
Accuratus is coming back after a long break. Okay. So her form is a bit uncertain.
Right.
And then Energy Kronos is a horse that just broke her maiden
Oh, wow.
in her last start.
So first win.
First win ever. Yeah, so there's a lot of buzz around her.
So maybe a breakout star in the making.
Possibly, yeah, but it's always, you have to be a little bit cautious with those horses who have just won their first race.
Right. They might not be able to repeat it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how she does.
Okay, great. So we've got a whole bunch of contenders in V75-4, but Capucine d'Anvers is the one to beat if she can keep it together.
Yes, if she behaves herself.
All right, great. Let's move on then to V75-5, the Bronze Division, another 2140-meter auto start.
Hmm?
And the favorite here looks like Express Cash, driven by Andreas Lovedahl.
Yes, he's a very talented horse,
Okay.
but he's not always a fan of the starting vehicle.
Oh, okay.
He can get a little bit upset behind the gate.
Just got some temperament issues.
Yes, you could say that, but he drew a very good starting position.
Okay.
So it starts from the inside.
So if he gets away cleanly, he should be able to get to the lead and control the race from there.
So once again, it sounds like getting out in front is going to be really important.
Yeah, in many of these races, it seems like that's the case.
Okay, great. So Express Cash is the one to beat if he can get a clean start. Who are some of the challengers that we should be aware of?
Well, Global Escape, driven by Erjan Kihlstrom, is one that comes to mind.
Okay.
He's been in very good form lately,
Okay.
and he could be a threat if he can get to the lead.
Another front runner.
Yes, exactly. Campivo is a horse that's very strong if the pace is fast,
Okay.
but he has to race with shoes this time, and that could be a disadvantage.
Okay. So we've got Global Escape, Competivo. Anyone else that's standing out to you?
Yeah, Wings Level is a horse that's well regarded,
Okay.
but he disappointed in his last start. Okay, so he needs to bounce back from that.
All right.
And then Cuba Libre Jet is a horse that has a very strong finishing speed.
Okay.
And so he could be a dangerous underdog if the pace is fast.
All right. So another closer.
Yes.
Cuba Libre Jet.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So lots of potential for some surprises in V75-5, it sounds like.
Yeah, it could be a good race.
All right, so let's move on to V75-6, which is a bit of a different race. 2,640 meters volt start, and it's STL Class 3 against STL Class 2.
Yes. This is an interesting mix because you have The lower-ranked horses starting with the head start, but
Mhm.
then you have the higher-ranked horses coming from behind.
Right.
So it's a battle between early speed and overall class.
Okay. So it's really anybody's game.
It could be, yeah.
All right. So who is the favorite in this matchup?
Well, the favorite is Neymar Boko, driven by Kevin Svedland.
Okay.
He's been in good form lately, and he seems to like the longer distance.
Okay. So a horse who enjoys a marathon.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
But Kevin Svedland hasn't won a V75 race yet.
So this could be his chance.
Yeah, a breakthrough moment, potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and who are we looking at as some of the main challengers?
Well, Infinity of Joy is a horse who's very good on his best day,
Mhm.
but he's a bit inconsistent. So
It's a bit of a gamble.
yeah, you never know what you're gonna get.
Okay.
Vixie Garbo, driven by Matsy Juice, is a strong horse, and he usually performs well with Matsy Juice.
Okay, another good combination.
Yes, they're a good team.
All right.
Turnfall, driven by Erjan Kihlström,
Mm-hmm.
needs to improve on his recent efforts.
Okay.
And then Sandsjins Cantona is a bit of an unknown, but he could be dangerous at good odds.
All right, so a bit of a dark horse, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so lots of potential for some upsets in V75-6.
Yeah, it's a wide open race.
All right, great. Let's finish up then with V75-7, the Class I race, 1,640 meters auto start. And the favorite here is Star Royal Mark, driven by Mika Force.
Yes, he's a very interesting horse.
Okay.
He's been in fantastic shape lately, and he comes from a good family. His half-brother is Make the Mark,
Oh, wow.
who's a legend in Swedish trotting.
Okay, so some good genes there.
Yes, exactly. And he got a new equipment change that seems to have done wonders for him.
Okay.
He runs much smoother now, especially in the turns.
Interesting.
So he's definitely the horse to beat in this race.
So he's in top form, and now he's even faster.
Yeah, it seems so.
All right, tough to beat.
Yeah, but there are a few challengers.
Okay, let's hear about him.
Bank Angel is probably the best horse in the race,
Okay.
but he's at a disadvantage over this short distance.
Right.
And he also drew a bad starting position,
Right.
so he needs everything to go his way.
So he's got the talent, but not necessarily the circumstance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Egon Vendel is a horse that's very consistent when he gets to the lead,
Mm-hmm.
but he'll face stiff competition for the lead in this race.
Okay.
Yeah, and Nicky Lauda is in good shape, but I don't think he can utilize his starting speed from this position.
Okay, so it sounds like getting to the lead is going to be really important once again in this race.
Yeah, it could be a real battle for the lead.
Okay, excellent. So that is a rundown of all 7 V75 races at Bergsåker this weekend.
Yes, we went through them all.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did.
So as we wrap up this episode of the Deep Dive,
Yes.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
And best of luck with your V75 bets this weekend.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Until next time.